Welcome to Medical Qigong practice this Wednesday morning. Today we're working on the Golden 8. So let's go ahead and begin with our warm-ups, opening up. Let's do the tapping from side to side. So with the hands in loose fists, let's start our swaying from side to side, breathing in and out through the nose. Letting the tissues warm up. Letting that low back start to open up and release a little bit. Maybe the neck and shoulders. Settling into the space. Letting everything else go for the next 30 minutes or so. And then gradually letting that lead arm travel up the torso. And coming back down. Taking away some of the momentum, releasing the hands. And widening the stance. I'm going to scoot over so I'm more in frame. Tapping the inner thigh and then up at the hips. Continuing down the inner aspect of the legs. To the lateral aspect of the legs. Once you get the hips and the glutes, sliding that left foot a little closer to the right. And then continuing up to the low back. Just underneath the rib cage. Resting the palms at the low back, circling down the sides and up the spine. Resting the palms at the low back, closing the eyes. Inhaling, guiding the breath into chi through the nose. Down into the torso, meeting with the low back, allowing it to expand. Exhaling, allowing the chi to flow to wherever it's needed within the body. Inhaling, guiding the breath and the chi to the low back, allowing it to fill up with energy. Exhaling, allowing that energy to flow to wherever it's needed. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Letting the mind relax into the breath. Allowing the breath to relax the body. And allowing the chi to flow to wherever it's needed. Gently opening the eyes, letting the arms come back down to the sides and closing. Working with our Golden 8 series, opening. Lung and large intestine, reaching for happiness. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our heart, small intestine exercise, the archer. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Getting ready to close. Closing. Spleen and stomach between heaven and earth. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhaling. Getting ready to close. Pericardium and Sanjiao, turn and look back. Inhaling, exhaling, in, and out. Inhaling, and exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Liver and gallbladder twist and release. Inhaling. And exhaling. In. And out. Getting ready to close. Closing. Bend for health, our kidney urinary bladder exercise. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling back to standing. Getting ready to close. Our Ren channel exercise energy punch. Inhaling, exhaling, in and out. Inhaling and exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our energy jump exercise with the Do channel in 2 parts. Part 1, inhaling, and then exhaling. Transitioning. Inhaling as the arms come up, exhaling as they come down. And then allowing everything to come back to the center. Closing. Keeping the feet together, bringing the palms together. Transferring some of that wonderful, wonderful energy to the palms so that we can then transfer it to the face. Washing the face 9 times. Wiping the brow. Up and down the nose. Circles. Dredging the channels of the scalp. Beating the drum. Massaging and grasping the earlobes. Popping the cork. Connecting the ren and the dew. And then massaging the jaw. Taking a little bit of extra time here. Our number changes to 12 total, or 6 times each side. Continuing. Palms at the lower dantian, circling up the right and down the left, gathering all that wonderful qi into the lower dantian 9 times. Switching directions. Resting the palms at the lower dantian, 3 to 4 finger breaths beneath the belly button. Closing the eyes. Inhaling, guiding the breath and the qi to the lower dantian, allowing it to fill up with energy. Exhaling, allowing that energy to settle and store. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Allowing the mind to relax into the breath. Allowing the breath to relax the body. And allowing the qi to settle and store so that it may be used throughout the rest of your day. Thank you, Qigong family. Henry, we are ready for our Qi chat.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Mary Frances. Sorry I wasn't able to join you guys early this morning. I was commuting to work and it took a little bit longer than I thought. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the face and how the different elements show up in the face and what they mean from an internal perspective. So I really want to make sure that we understand that you know, this is a really good way to help us understand perhaps what our gifts are. Some of those gifts might make sense to you when you look at your own face and see and look at these features and what they mean from an element perspective. And some things maybe you will find surprising, like, oh, well, I didn't know that about, you know, my nose or my chin, or like what those things mean. You know, like when I was younger, I was quite rebellious, and then so I had a big change because I grew up in Hong Kong when I was young, and then I came over to the U.S. when I was 7. So it was a very big shift for me, and so it was a pretty life-changing event. And you know, when I was in Hong Kong, I was a lot more of a outgoing person, and you can sort of see that, like some of my normal gifts, like the gift of some wood, there's some wood in me, there's some metal, there's some water. And when I came over, I became really quiet for a while. So I shifted more internal, and it wasn't really my gifts, but it was kind of a way that, as a kid, I learned how to survive because I was still learning the language and learning the culture. And of course, being made fun of and all that kind of stuff was not fun because you felt like you were the odd person out for a number of years. So, so we can then like hide some of our gifts because we didn't want it to stand out or that we didn't think it was appropriate. And so very much so that was me as well. And learning face reading was really helpful for me to help me reconnect with some of my natural gifts, things that I thought weren't appropriate, things that I was trained at. It was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't reveal or show this part of myself or be so confident about certain parts of who I am. And so that took a while to, kind of sink in. But for me, that personally, that was a really life-changing and revealing thing to be able to learn from Patricia and about these, about gifts and challenges of who we are. So just want to share that with you that, there might be some things that may not make sense to you, and that's okay. We can certainly discuss that, whether privately or as a group. But there's some things that perhaps like we really didn't accept as our gifts because of external influences. Oftentimes, as I mentioned before, people who have a lot of fire, I don't have a lot of fire, but people who do have a lot of gift of fire, society doesn't often accept that so readily. And then, wood qualities, not so much with women. So, having people own their gifts and really utilize them, for us from a Qigong perspective is really important because we're looking at the flow of Qi, the flow of who you are. And if there are blockages, like, you're not using your gifts, that we see that as a blockage, we see that as energy not flowing. So you're not really living up to your full potential of who you are. And so, using Qigong, using these different aspects, we're able to help unblock some of this energy so you can really be closer to who you really are as a person and your gifts and challenges and how you share that with the world. Okay, so with that in mind, I thought that was very important to share. We're looking at water today. Okay, so where does water show up on the face? What do they mean? Okay, so water, we look at the element of water, and that's related to the organs of the kidneys and the bladder. Okay, and it goes to the ears. All right, as we may know from the facial exercises. So ears is water. Okay, the emotions of water is related to wisdom and fear. For us, through fear, we learn, we gain wisdom, right? So we may have things that we're afraid of in life, like some things are very practical and make sense and it's totally normal to have, like you don't want to cross the street on a red light in a busy intersection. Okay, that's a healthy amount of fear. Or you don't want to touch a hot stove because you don't want to burn your hands. That's a healthy fear. Okay, maybe eating Oreo cookies may not be as much of a fear. Of course, like we all don't want to eat unhealthy, but like if you have too much of, like, say, irrational fears, okay, maybe okay. So I think fear of clowns may be a little bit irrational, but perhaps you might disagree. But we do have certain fears that are more out of balance and some that are very reasonable that we have. And so you have to be okay with those things, kind of know, using a little bit of common sense. But, like those healthy fears help us build our wisdom. And so our ears are very important for that. So what we look at with the ears is, if you want to feel your ears, actually, this is one thing, because you can feel maybe it's soft, maybe it's hard. Okay, so we all have different ears. Unfortunately, we're doing this over Zoom, so I can't really touch your ears and we can't really compare ears. But some of us have very like our cartilage is quite crispy or crunchy, okay? And you can really feel the rigidity of it or the hardness of it, some resistance. And other people, you'll feel that your ears are quite soft, okay? So that represents more of your kidney jing, okay? Jing, we say, is the energy that you have, that part of it is passed on from your parents, from your ancestors. So you're born with a certain amount, a finite amount, and when you use it up, is kind of when you die. So some of us don't use it up. Some of us die unnaturally, okay, unfortunately. But if you say you were to live to your natural old age, people who tend to have more kidney jing will live a longer life and healthier life. However, not all of us use that gift. Some of us party a lot more and do a lot more abuse to our bodies, take more risks. So all those things will affect, of course, your natural longevity, and it'll affect how fast you deplete your kidney jing. So just because you have really, strong ears or big ears, just because you have that gift doesn't mean that you're going to live the longest. Someone who has tiny ears and very soft ears might actually end up living longer than you because if you have that gift of feeling like you're healthy all the time, you think you're going to live a long life, well, you're probably going to take more risks. You're probably going to maybe be a little bit less calculated with the types of risks you do. And actually that falls into the emotion of water, right? So people who have an excess of water can take an abnormally higher risks. Like they might be more the people who would just do skydiving and roller coasters and extreme sports. Whereas like if you don't have that gift of fear or fearlessness, you're gonna be more careful with the risks that you take. You'd be like, well, maybe that's a little bit too risky. I have other things I want to do with my life, and I'm not sure that this is going to be a good idea. So, so it balances out. So sometimes these gifts are challenges in disguise, and some of these challenges are gifts in disguise. So, but people who do have, the bigger ears, who have the hard part of cartilage, they tend to take more risks. And sometimes you want the risk takers in your life to kind of, break the sort of cut the leading edge or whatever, they may do things that the rest of us don't. And then we get into new territories of what we think is possible. So, definitely appreciate people who do that. But also appreciate the people who, who are more smart about choosing what risks they take and what risks they don't. Okay, so ears are very important to help determine that. The lower ears, you may notice, maybe Buddha statues have these big ears, right? And then they have these big ass earlobes. Okay, big ass earlobes is my term, technical. So earlobes, and you may see some people especially grandmas and grandpas, and they might pull on the ears to help kind of stretch and lengthen. So that's especially this part of the ear is represents longevity. So you might have these Buddha statues with earlobes going all the way down to the shoulders. You won't really see that in normal life. But yeah, so that's kidney energy and what people are trying to do. Okay, so that's one thing, ears. Another part of water that we see is in the jaw, like someone who has very strong jawline has also that gift of water. And especially this area in Taoist face reading, we look at as determination. People who have a lot of determination, basically they don't stop. They keep going, just like the water. I think I mentioned this metaphor of that water crashing onto the beach. Those endless waves just keep coming and coming. And so that's determination. And having that gift of determination means that you're not going to be stopped. You're going to keep trying, perhaps trying different things until you get to your next destination. You're discovering truth. So you're unveiling things, and so that's a very strong trait of water. Okay. Another area that we look at with water is the forehead region. Okay. Another aspect of water is about imagination. Water people who have that gift of water tend to be in their heads a lot. So that gift of imagination here, so people who have a very prominent forehead, big forehead, especially like a more domed forehead, they tend to have more of that gift of imagination. Okay, so again, just like the other gifts, it's often a gift and a challenge. All right, so if you're in your head a lot, you're probably not in reality as much. Okay, but having that gift of imagination is important if you are in creative pursuits. So those are just some instances of water. So let's take a look at some photos, look at some people and see how water shows up on the face. All right, let's see. Oops, dang it. Almost there. All right, so these are quite interesting faces. This is actually an old friend of mine, this photo. He has, so right off the bat, okay, things to look at: forehead, his eyes, and the general shape of his face. Okay, 3 different elements. Hi, how are you? Oh, excuse me, 1 second. 3 different elements of his face. So you have the gift of wood on the face, that's the rectangular. And I just want to show it here. All right. And then you have, so that's more of the wood element and how that shows up on the face. So he has more of a wood shaped face. And then you can see the eyes. So these are more of the classic, very dreamy eyes. So this is a very water quality. So I think yesterday we saw fiery eyes that sparkle, and the metal eyes, that coolness. And then today, so this person has more of that watery, that dreaminess in his eyes. Then he has a very prominent forehead. All right, so, and his facial hair, okay, we talked about facial hair a little bit yesterday, that facial hair can enhance some of those qualities of those areas. So in this case, the jaw, the water, it enhances that, as well as his chin. Okay, so if he shaves, it may look very different, but the beard alters the energy of the face. All right. And then next, we look at, so she has a lot of energy in that lower part of the face, right? You can see a lot of energy in the cheeks, in the lower cheeks, in the chin, and the jaw. So it's a very nice combination of water and earth. That very strong chin, so that strong will, okay? And then very strong water determination. So you really don't want to mess with her because it's going to be very difficult to A, change her mind, and B, have her stop from doing things that she wants to do. So she has really that strong will and strong determination, and good confidence as well. Okay, and big ears, and we look at that relative to the face. All right. Okay, and she has some of that water you can see in the full lower cheeks area, fullness in the jaw area as well, and she has some of that, a little bit cooler, the metal eyes. Okay, right. And finally, we have, again, like he's another one that has a very strong energy in the lower part of the face and that jawline area, and also the chin. Okay, a lot of fullness here in the lower cheeks. He also has a prominent forehead as well, that water imagination. Okay, so that gives you some ideas and some people to look at. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.